I got a story to tell. I remember years back, we're going back, I don't know, back in the day when we were doing one of the consumer electronics shows, old school style, the audio, us and the audio guys, but we'd have multiple manufacturers in the room. Anyway, guy named Judd from Jewel Electra made beautiful tube amplifiers for speakers. Really nice sounding stuff, handmade, Judd's gone now. It's been a long time, but, we're going back into the late 90s on this one. Anyway, shared a room with him and a few other manufacturers, and he had I think it was called a VZN 100, but it was a 100-watt tube amp, OTL tube amp, and on its top panel, it had a variable feedback control. We can actually vary the feedback from, I don't know what the degrees were, practically zero. Tube amps you can get away without feedback until something really blows up, I guess. But I don't know. Bottom line is that the variable feedback, right? And it was wild because you have it set up on a pair of speakers so you could see the woofers moving. Oh, yeah. Unlike headphones, you don't see anything moving.
Well, you could.
Well, you could, but you don't because you're wearing them. So the woofer, you see the woofer. So you're playing a track, and with the feedback almost down to minimal, whatever it's like a volume control, right? Down to minimal. You get this sense of space out of the tubes that's really cool, right? But the woofers look like they're loose as hell. Like a bass note hits and the woofer's like, whoa, 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 whoa. They don't stop and start fast. You could physically see the woofer when a bass note hits. It just keeps going until it hits center, right?
Or like a turntable with no
kind of, it's basically, there's not the amp isn't controlling it because, anyway, we can't get into details on this in a short video, but the bottom line is that the without feedback, without the amp feedback, it just can't. It's not controlling the woofer. So it shows you though, but you get this huge sense of space. So now, okay, we're going to correct the bass. We're going to make it stop sounding so flabby by turning up the feedback, right? So now we increase feedback. Now the woofer stops and starts when it's supposed to. So it's moving in sync with the freaking bass notes. But the greater you go to the feedback, the more everything shrinks in size, the sound stage, the sense of space, it just goes away. And
how do you know what's right?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, so now the question is, what I found though, after doing the show for like 3 or 4 days with these guys, right, is because you now have this control, it drives you nuts because you're always trading off sense of space with bass control.
Yeah, and depending on the track, some
right.
prefer it or not,
in the room, and even the speakers. Like that's why they talk about with speakers, and even with headphones, you have speakers that are underdamped or speakers that are overdamped. Where they have something in them dampens them. It's the spider design of the woofer, the internal, whether it's sealed or a ported cabinet design, whatever offers resistance for that woofer. So if the woofer's got free range of motion, you know what I mean? And the amp has no feedback and lets it do what it wants, that's what a woofer is going to do.
Yeah. Well, it's common in like subwoofers, sealed and ported, classic. It's a trade-off. It's like, do you want a sealed, tight bass or?
Yeah.
So what's the moral of the story?
Well, the moral story is that feedback matters, and people. It was cool, to see that 30 years ago, where amps don't really have feedback controls on them, even in headphones they just don't, and it's neat to be able to adjust it, but you find out that feedback is a trade-off. It's a trade-off.
Like everything.
Well, the thing is that everyone's shooting for really good specifications on amps and all that stuff, so they maximize the feedback to get the lower distortion, but they're actually diminishing the sense of space in solid state and so on. They're diminishing the sense of space to do it, but if you're not worried about the subjective side of it and just the objective, that's what happens. But a variable feedback control will do that, and we just wanted to let you know that it's a cool thing, and maybe if some manufacturers of amps would give you the ability to kind of vary it from A to B, and it would be a huge understanding, and that's it.
Well, especially with speakers, though, it would be nice to have a remote.
Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Take care of yourselves.